So, hello. Hello, everybody. This is Mosquito, and I've been recently asked to make a few tutorials about Eddy. Um, and I'm going to do a small series, which will hopefully contain like almost every aspect of his gameplay. And I did a short list about what you guys want me to explain, and I am going to start with the general mix-ups with Eddy, and in the ongoing videos I'm going to explain some points like his pressure game, maybe a few setups if I remember some of them, and of course his combos and his wall carry, his poking game, and also some frame traps, which I don't think he has a lot of, but we're going to see if when I'm going to make this video about his frame traps, how much video material I'm going to have. So yeah, let's start with the overall mix-up game with Eddy. And I think, in my opinion, Eddy is just a mix-up character in his own. He's completely full of mix-ups. And one downside is, of course, that his mix-ups are extremely punishable. So he's a really risky character. And but for me, it's pretty fun. I mean, it's not the best character in the game, but if you have a lot of fun playing this character, why shouldn't you use him? So yeah, of course he has his yeah, how can I say it, his markable stances. The first one is the relax stance, which you can access by down 3+4, and of course his handstand or handspring stance, which you can access by doing forward 1+2. And out of these stances, I'm going to cover, in my opinion, the best options, and also mention maybe every option he has, but I'm going to focus on his best options and what I do when I play online or even in tournaments. And yeah, let's just start. So I wanted to start with the best transitions to enter his stances, and because Eddy has really many moves where he can land into handstand or his relax stance, and I'm going to start with the handstand stance. Probably the most common thing you do is just a simple 1-2 jab and hold forward, and there you can see that you can enter handstand stance, and if you do nothing, of course, from handstand he lands into the relax stance. Then we have the back 1-4 string, of course, which is also really famous from previous game Tekken Tag 2, but it isn't that overpowered anymore. So yeah, but it's still a good, one of the best moves, I guess, to enter his handstand stance and to start the mix-ups. After that, we have the full crouch. What did I write? Ah, yeah. We can enter the handstand stance, of course, just by pressing forward 1+2, which is also really important to do that sometimes. Just, you know, if you are in the middle of, I don't know, in the middle of the game and start pressuring, and you want just access a few other good or crushing moves. For example, this handstand down 3+4, you can just enter it by doing so. But it is also really risky to do different moves except of handstand 2, but we are going there. Yeah, what I wanted to tell you is that it's also really good to not only search for moves like 1-2 forward, but to enter his stances also just by doing the stance. and of course know how to cancel it. In this case, in previous game you could cancel the handstand by holding back. That doesn't work anymore. I don't know why, but yeah, to cancel this handstand stand you have to press down back now, so it's not really more difficult, but it was just a thing of yeah, getting comfortable with the notation. So yeah, forward 1+2, and you can also access it by full crouch down forward 1+2, and of course cancel it with down back again. So you could do something like this, which looks really awkward, but yeah, it's possible. And yeah, some other moves are his 1-3 string, which automatically ends up in relaxed stance if you don't do anything. And then my personal favorite, or one of my favorites, is his full crouch down 3+4 and then holding back after this. So you can see I hold the first time I did it, I hold down, so you can enter a relaxed stance, but you can also transition to handstand by holding back. And if you wouldn't press anything, it would be much unsafer, this move. That would be much unsafer if you just do this. I don't know how much it is on block, but it is commonly used that you mix your opponent up. If you do that, you go directly into a mix-up, either if you land in relax, or if you hold back and go into the handstand stance. You have to decide on what you want to do, what you want to set up. So, but we're going there. And the last move, in my opinion, is his forward 3, and then hold back. There you can cover much space, even on block. So it's pretty safe. It can be stepped, but yeah, if I make my opponent block everything, I'm going to create huge space with it. So in my opinion, it's pretty good. And if it hits, it does quite a lot of damage. So yeah, it's a pretty good move in my opinion, and a good move to enter relax stance. Not relax, yeah, also relax, but in this case, we're focusing on handstand. So yeah, but I think I'm going straight to how to enter relaxed stance properly, and we can just go on with this move. You can, by hold down, still do transition into a relaxed stance and do a chunk of damage if it hits. The back, the pushback is not that good, but I mean it leaves you in a good range to use your mix-up game, and the range is in your advantage because most of the moves from your opponent will whiff, so you can just go smoothly into your relaxed stance mix-up, but of course your opponent can backdash and can get away with can get away can get out of the way for any more mix-ups. But if you are, I don't know, maybe sharp enough and do the right decision, you can just go for a simple low, just to get at least a little bit of damage and to trigger your opponent. Maybe you can get a little bit more, like 1-3, and or you can just, maybe if he tries to backdash, you can catch him with the forward 3+4, which is, in my opinion, his fastest move, I guess. Not in my opinion. I mean, there are certain frames to each move, but I think it's the fastest one to. And of course, it reaches the longest from relaxed stance. So even if they backdash, you will force them to block this move. Of course, they can sidestep or something, but most of the players will just try to avoid the mix-up by backdash, because if they want to sidestep, you can always catch them with the relax 4, which is a homing move, and so yeah, they would get hit by it, and you will have a bit of frame advantage. So yeah, other moves to enter To enter relax stance, the best moves is just go into relax stance and also know how to cancel it. I think you can cancel it by every diagonal direction, like down, forward, down, back, and up, forward. So you can decide which direction is more comfortable to you. I usually do, I think, down, forward. I don't know why. You can also do down, back, but yeah. This is pretty important because sometimes if your opponent runs towards you and does a running 3, for example, Heihachi, and you created a bit of space, but you can't really sidestep with Eddy, so you want him to whiff his move. You can try to backdash first and then go into relax, and then he will go over you with his slash kick, and you can punish with any launcher he has, which would be relax 3 to the 4 or relax 4 to the 3. But that's the reason why I'm mentioning to enter relax stance just by pressing down 3+4 to enter relax directly. And other good moves to enter relax stance, in my opinion, are his 1-3 again, but this time hold down. So it leads to relax stance, but the range is really it's kind of a long distance where I land, especially when it hits. I don't know how much it is when he blocks it, but I think it's a bit closer. So this is also just for not really start your mix-up game, but rather just to make him maybe whiff anything if he starts to press something, or just to try to escape relax stance as soon as possible, because it is Eddy is vulnerable in his stances. I mean, it's not that big of a deal because out of relax stance you can't really combo him if he is lying a bit longer than his float state. So you just have to decide for yourself whether you go to handstand or relax, and whether you do a mix-up or you don't. You also can decide to not do anything and just cancel it and go, just play your normal game. Or you can also back roll. This is a good thing that not every character, I don't know if any character has this back roll, because they took it away from Tekken Tag 2. That when you get knocked down, you hold back and they just straight stand up. But this back roll covers also a lot of space. So even if you just enter relax stance directly, you can just hold back and do a back roll. It's also extremely dangerous if your opponent knows what you were doing and they catch you back rolling. But I mean, if you do it like once or twice to get out of situations, it's pretty good in my opinion. Another move would be to enter relax stance would be the full crouch down forward 4, which is extremely good, of course only if it hits, but since it is a low, many people won't risk to duck, because Eddy has an amazing while standing game in my opinion. He has 3 different launchers from while standing. One is a high that won't be big of a deal if the opponent ducks, but the while standing 2 and while standing 3 are pretty scary. And so if you just manage to create a situation where you can enter relax stance just by this low, you're in a quite good advantage, I guess. So you can start your mix-up game pretty easy. I think maybe the best move, but also one of the not necessarily the riskiest move, but one of his best moves is his while running 3, because it's one of his best moves because he enters relax, and gives plus frames on hit. So it's like almost a guaranteed mix-up. And it is a counter hit launcher. So fishing for that is, should be implemented. This move should be implemented in your game plan, but not. You should try to do something like an instant while running 3. Even though I even can't do that often, but if you can implement it from a close range, it is a really good move, but it's kind of hard, as you can see. I also can't do it every time, or almost 0% of the time. But there it is. So that's a pretty good low. But if you do it from this range, the opponent maybe has time to see it, and it will be blocked or even low parried. Depends on your opponent, of course, but it's quite risky. Yeah. So I think we covered, in my opinion, the best options to enter the stances. Oh wait, no, there's one more. There's also, in my opinion, one of his best moves is up forwards 3, where he only has the how can I say it? He has only the chance to the possibility to enter relaxed stance and not enter handspring stance, but that's not big of a deal because it's a safe move and you can just do the move and stand again, or you can transition. You can transition into relax, or you can. It's a true 50-50. You can go for the low follow up or the mid launcher, which both are. Yeah, I think the mid one is the most risky one because it's launch punishable, and the low one can be low parried for a full combo. But if it gets blocked, many characters won't even get the float combo. So that's kind of cheap. And on knockdown, if it hits, of course, it gives you a guaranteed 3, or sometimes even on close range, a 3 to the 4. So that's a pretty good mix-up too. So as you can see, not only by his stances, but also by some of his moves, Eddy is just a mix-up character. He only has almost only has moves that lead to a mix-up. And now we want to focus on what options he has from this different stances. And let's start with the relax stance. If you managed in game, if you manage to go into relax stance where your opponent is a bit scared and don't want to press anything, and you start your mix-up game, the best moves, in my opinion, are for poking his 1-3, where you can also, like his standing one, go into a handstand or back into relax. But if you do it a few times, you can see that the first hit starts whiffing. So if you're close range, I think 2 ones, if your opponent doesn't backdash, are possible. But after the second one, the opponent is automatically too far away to let the string hit. Of course, it's not the case if the opponent is right next to the wall. And in my opinion, it's a great low poke because it does quite good damage, and it leads you right to the next mix-up game, especially at the wall. And if you want to, continue with your low mix-up game, what I do sometimes is to transition between the stances like this and go to the next low, and then I'm most of the time near to the opponent again, so I can continue with my mix-up with this 1-3. So what I would do is, like, let's say I manage to get close to him and land and relax. I do this, then this, and then this again, for example. So I'm going to just annoy my opponent with all these lows, which are safer than go for the full mix-up and try to launch him, either to make him guess if I'm going to do the low launcher or the mid launcher, which are both a bit too risky. But I mean, yeah, all of his moves, all of his mix-up all moves of his mix-up game are risky, but this one is a bit less riskier than anything else. So yeah, this is one of my favorite moves, and combined with this one, you can also just after you did the first 1-3, go into a handstand and tap forward to get immediately into relaxed stance again, and to come closer to your opponent, because he is obviously going to backdash to get out of this. And you can just go and repeat what you did. And another thing that I often do is, if I want to get not a guaranteed follow-up, but most of the time the people won't block it because they think they are out of range. After that move hits, I go for just a negative relax 3, and which has much longer range than the relax 1. And if they backdash after the first one hits, this usually hits too, so I can get a bit more damage, and maybe it's also like the last hit of the round, this one, and yeah, you eventually get the round. And if it's blocked, it's not that bad. And yeah, if it's low parried, of course, that's the worst thing that can happen. But for range heavy moves, you can either go you can still go for a mix-up, like the relax 4 or even relax 2, or maybe just 3+4. But yeah, you have a lot of mid options, so your opponent probably is going to try to block the mid, and so you are like, I think 90% of the time they're not going to block the low follow-up. But yeah, that's for relax 1-3. That took quite a while. So yeah, next we have the relax 4-3+4, which is, in my opinion, a really good move. I think it is range dependent if it is punishable or not. Sometimes it's safe, I think, from a distance. If it's blocked from a distance, it's safe. And if it's blocked like really close, it can be, I mean, I think it's up to -12 or something, I don't know. But it has quite a good range, and it can sometimes, from a certain range, if you're ready for it, you can go for a full combo. It is, yeah, like this. And but it's really range dependent, and you have to be like fishing for it and be ready for it. I don't try that often, but I think if they don't tag roll, it's always going to be guaranteed. So I'm going to try this. Yeah, and if they don't back roll tag roll, of course you can also go for the back 3-3 and for the full combo. Yeah, most of the people do like shenanigans. Like for example, if he blocks, the move that you go for the back 1+2, because you're not always in minus frames. So if they try to maybe at least land a jab, it will most of the time whiff, and you will get this one hit. But if they know about this, they are going to use a move that trades to their left, so you most of the time get counter hit if you try to do this. So my advice, or maybe it's another shenanigan, but I do more often than I do the back 1+2, I do just down 1, just like a duck jab, so you are kind of safe. Of course, it can be low parried, but most of the people are trying to go for like I said, a tracking move, and the tracking moves often are kind of slow. So if they try to do something, they will just get hit by this, and you can continue your pressure game. Like, I don't know, just go for Westerling 4, which is safe, or maybe go for something more riskier, just like this or something. Yeah, you can be creative with that. But yeah, that's it for this move. Yeah, then we can cover the Relax 4, which is really, it's like, I think, the most often used move, in my opinion, from Relax, even though it's not safe. Many people think it's a safe move, but it's actually minus 13. So characters like Paul or Fang will get the shoulder punish on you. And if they know about it, they're going to only wait for you to do that and just punish you every time you do that. So you kind of have to be what's what's the word? You kind of have to be aware of the fact that you can get heavily punished by it and not to overuse it. I think the only safe option from Relax is actually Relax 2, but it's kind of slow, so that's the reason why you always go for the Relax 4. Of course, there's this one, 3+4, which is also safe, but I mean, it's pretty slow. You can get jabbed out of it, and rarely anyone uses it, so yeah, it's not that good of a move, even though it gives a full combo. I don't know if you guys knew that, but you can get a full combo, but only out of the Relax version from it. If you do it from standing, you won't get a full combo because he recovers a bit slower. But what you get is a guaranteed down for 3. So if you catch someone on, for example, on Forgotten Realm, the stage, you will get the floor break and to full combo. So yeah, on this stage, the value of this move gets a bit higher. But yeah, even though, as I said, the Relax version gives you a full combo, but it's pretty slow combo starter, and it's kind of easy to block since it's not yeah, unreactable too. And it has weird crushing properties sometimes, but yeah, I haven't labbed it yet. So yeah, as I said, it's a homing move. So if you know that your opponent is going to trying to sidestep, you can of course use it. And if you know that you are hitting this, you can go for the follow up into the handstand. So I cancel it into handstand. Of course, the full move would be 4-3+4, where he does this. I think this is the same as the Relax version. Yeah, you can get a full combo out of it, but it's not a natural combo, so you it's not that good to try to fish for that. The last one on my list, which is kind of a good option, is the 2-4-3. Yeah, it's like it's almost like it's almost the same as the 4-4-3, but it's of course easier to sidestep for your opponent because you first have to do the 2 and then the forward 3. But you can mix it up with just Relax 2-3. This is unsteppable, and I think, I don't want to talk bullshit, but I think it's unsteppable. At least it's pretty hard to step. So if you know they're going to try to sidestep this move from you, you can sometimes go for the launcher, which would be kind of a good decision because it's not that minus on block. And yeah, so feel free to try everything out you want. And yeah, these are, in my opinion, the best options out of Relax and the options that I use the most. And yeah, now let's start to cover his handstand options. Yeah, from handstand, his safest move, I think, where he also cancels his handstand move, is handstand 2, which is also the start of this string. Yeah, this is the full one, which is not really useful. Maybe as a, I don't know, combo ender and some weird combos, yeah. Or if you do something like this, but why would you do this? It's just you are having you are going to waste your time because Eddy has a lot of recoverage after that move, so you can't continue with your pressure game. But yeah, Handstand 2 is the safest move from Handstand, and you can also try to do mix-ups with that move, because as I said, you can go for the string. I would only go for the first hit of the string like this, or you can delay it and do a wild standing 4. So you have a mix-up game. If you're going to your opponent has to guess if you're going for a low or the mid. It's not that much of a damage, but I mean it's for getting a bit of plus frames. If they won't block the low one, you will be plus, and if they will get hit by the wild standing 4, you also will have some plus frames, so you can fish for down forward 2 counter hits. And if you do the handstand 2, Eddy will be in a crouching state, so you can not only have access to wild standing moves, but rather his full crouch moves, which would be his down forward 4, his down back 4, or even his 1+2 1+2, the headbutts, or his down 3+4. So we covered the handspring 2 option. After that, my next move would be handstand down 3 and hold down to enter the negativer. And if you don't hold down, he will just flip back up to handstand again, and you can continue with your mix-up. But I think it's pretty slow, and people will float you out of handstand. So it's not the best option in my opinion. So it's better to just go to relaxed stance and hope that your opponent will whiff something, so you can maybe launch them or just get 1 or 2 hits. And it doesn't have plus frames on block. That would be, I think, too overpowered. But as I said, if the opponent tries to press something and you're lucky, it will whiff. And yeah, it's, in my opinion, a pretty good way to enter relaxed stance. Yeah. Then we have, of course, I think it's his fastest one, is helicopter move. It's also not really safe because he will stay in handstand stance, and the opponent, after he blocked it, he will have to do a pretty fast move to kick you out, because if he tries to do a slower move, you can go for the power crush move, or you can just follow it up with the second one and they will get knocked down by this. Yeah, of course, sometimes the thing that I do, it's also kind of a shenanigan, is if they block the first one, I will go for the crushing, like mid and high crushing move, launching move, is down 3+4, which is a pretty good move in my opinion. But I mean, if they block it here, they can kick you out of handstand again. It's the same like as handstand 4, and you can get a pretty good damage out of it. So it's sometimes pretty worth it to go for it, and your opponents tend to be not ready to punish it correctly. So even if they block, for example, the first attempt, I messed up. If they try to block the first attempt, they try to kick you out of handstand, and you go for the second one. Maybe the second one will hit, and you will still get your combo. Yeah, it's pretty. It's a shenanigan. I don't know if you want to use it and fish for a hit until your opponent kicks you out of the stance. You can go for it, but I think the best thing to do after it is to try to cancel you out of handstand, so you won't get kicked. You won't get caught into a float combo. Yeah, but you can do whatever you want, of course. Yeah, the next move I want to cover is, of course, this unbreakable throw, which is you can react to it. If you can see it, you have to duck it, of course. And it leads Eddy into relax again, not relax, into a handstand again if it whiffs. So you can maybe go for the bait, like whiffing it, and then go for the launcher if they try to punish it, maybe. So yeah, it's all about the mind games. Then we have a move that I often use in combination with this one. It's the back three. I think I already showed it earlier. It is pretty good because on hit it gives you, I think it gives you like plus, I don't know, 2 or something, or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe it's 0 or something, but it gives you an advantage because it leads you to relax, and you know, the fastest move from your opponent would be a standing jab, and that will whiff. So they often will have to go for a slower move to hit you out of it, but you're going to be faster if you do something like, you know, the relax 4, or yeah, maybe also the forward 3+4, and yeah, so you can try to start this sequence, for example. This is what I do also really often to trigger my opponent, and if they start backdashing, just go for the final hit, this one, and then the whole relax pressure is away. But of course, if you manage to get him there, you can also go for the launching mix-up. But yeah, that's you can start to be creative, and of course, if they try to duck a lot, you can just you know, go on with your pressure with your mid-hitting moves. And one thing that is really important there is that you can, since you are recovering crouching from this move, you can also go directly into the handstand stance. This is why I mentioned it earlier, that you can enter it by holding by full crouching state, by doing down forward hands 1+2 to enter handstand. So this in combination, you can use this as well. And yeah, that was the back three. Then we have, oh yeah, the final thing I want to cover is from handstand his jab. It's not that it's better than his normal jab, but maybe most of the time the people think that from handstand this is some kind of misinput. And because usually if you pressure your opponent with like a single jab, it's like plus, I don't know, 5 or 6 on block, and you go for the down forward 2 fishing, it's not always going to work, because they just wait until you do your down forward 2 and they will start their game, because you are going to be on minus frames. But as I said, often after this move, like it's forward 1, by the way, from handstand forward 1. You can also go for the full string, like forward 1, like as you would be as in standing state. You can go from this into down forward 2, and most of the time the people will get counter hit by the down forward 2, because they will be like, okay, he's also confused because he did a misinput and he's not in his handstand stance anymore. and but then you go for a down forward 2 and they will get counter hit because they try to press anything. So yeah, that's a thing that works quite often. I don't do it that often because it would be obvious after a few times, and I don't know, maybe once every match or something you can try to implement that to keep your how can I say it, your surprising factor up, because Eddy has a lot of tools to enter his stances. I didn't cover any option, only the best options in my opinion, and you can get really creative with it. So yeah, even with the counseling game, you know, you can even do stuff like this, or I don't know. It's just up to you what you want to do. So I covered like the best options for, in my opinion, for his stances, and now I'm going to try to collect a few transitions, like I did with this one, and like this whole thing. That on long range, I often try to play with this one. Yeah, sometimes I just go back away and try to run away, just to, you know, I can hit you from this distance and you can nothing do except blocking it, or, you know, just watch me do my thing. It's really a lot of space covering here. So yeah, and if it hits, of course, you can you have a free mix-up after that. You can go for yeah, you can start after that hits with your mind game from this one, and this is all your decision what you are going to do after you did your first mix-up. For example, after this one and this, you can either go again for the low, which would be the back 3, or just go for a safe mid. And then after the safe mid, of course, you have your next mix-up game. And that's the, in my opinion, the beauty of Eddy's gameplay, that he can start a mix-up game like from one stance, and after he, you know, let's say finished his mix-up game, he goes directly into the next mix-up game. So because I can choose at least between every time at least between 2 moves, which are either mid or low, so your opponent always have to guess what you're doing next. So the only thing is to find the what is it, that exact moment when you can start your mix-up game. And this move is, in my opinion, one of the key moves to enter his mix-up game, because if your opponent gets hit by it, it will leave him crouching. So this is pretty good for you, because he only has access to his while standing moves, and I don't think that he's going to press anything after getting hit by this. So this is a free mix-up, and there you can start your mix-up game. As I said, the low one can lead you to this mix-up. You can directly go into handstand and just fish for this move, because you're having a lot of distance that you have to cover. And of course, you can go to relax again, and as I said, do this stuff, or you can try to, I don't know, go for this mix-up, even though it can be jabbed interrupt. Or as I said, you can try to implement this and mix it up with the launcher if they try to step it, or you can go for the relax 4, which is a bit more risky, but not everybody knows it is quite minus on block, and go for the next mix-ups. And of course, you can also try to go for a launch. And these 2 moves are often forgotten in my gameplay. Forgotten in my gameplay, because these are very risky moves, and sometimes I don't want to, give away too soon my lead or the whole game. So I just often go for more pokes. But when I'm quite certain that my opponent is going to either duck or not, I'm going to try to launch him, of course. And even if he's like, oh yeah, I'm not going to duck because he's just doing a few pokes and I can take them. If I think that my opponent is thinking like that I'm going to give him a full launch. So I'm forcing him for the next time again to rethink his defense. Yeah, as I said, the full crouch down 3+4 is one of his best moves to enter, to start your mix-up game. And of course, everything starts, or the whole mix-up game for Eddy starts when you hit your opponent. It's pretty hard to go for mix-ups if they block your moves to enter handstand or relax, because every time they block one of your attempts to enter either handstand or relax, they can float you out or kick you out of your stance if they are sharp enough. I mean, if you want to be sure they are not, that your opponent is can't do every time the same thing to kick you out, you can go for back 1-4, where you can cancel it either to handstand, or you can just go back to standing, or you can follow it up. So they can only interrupt you to go into handstand if they press immediately something after you did the back 1-4. And if they try, or if you think that they always try to avoid you from entering the stance, you can just go for maybe the full one, because they will probably get counter hit by the third hit, or just only go for the third hit. And yeah, it's all about the mind games. So that's it for this video, I guess. And I hope you learned a few things or two, one thing or two, a few things or two. And yeah, leave a like if you enjoyed this and found this video helpful. Leave a comment to let me know if I should cover or give more examples for mix-up games. I think this video was heavily focused on his best moves to enter his stances, and also his best moves from the stances, but I know there may be a few more options to connect them, like I did with this sequence here. So let me know in the comments what you want to know, and yeah, see you guys next time.